a couple of months ago I did a video about how I managed my cesarean section hernia without surgery, and surprisingly it had a lot more reach than I expected. And this led me to think that it's actually possible that this is common, but people don't tend to talk about it much because it's quite private, and to be honest, you're fresh into motherhood. That's a lot to take on board. So based on that reaction, I'm hoping to do a full update about what actually improved, what plateaued, and how it's going at the moment, and maybe things that I could have done better if I had the insight that I have now. So if you're interested in learning more about that, let's hop right to it. If you're new here, welcome, and if you're a returning subscriber, thank you. My name's Ayo and I'm a GP trainee currently working in the UK, and this video basically is an update on a video I did a couple of months ago, like I said earlier. And this is me when I actually filmed that video. That's like my abdominal wall, how the tone looked, and this is me now following like a couple of 3 to 4 months after that video. So you can see that there's not really much that's changed. The tone's still been preserved. I've not really like been at the gym or anything to really have seen the tone increase any more than that, but I'll just be sharing how the hernia has actually evolved through that process. Clinically, the hernia has dramatically improved. Like, I went for an examination and it was really difficult for the doctor to actually identify the defect. I had to show the doctor the defect myself for them to even have a sense of what it is, and it seems to have contracted even significantly more, to the point that even like the tip of my finger barely is admitted through the defect. So it seemed a lot tighter, so making it so difficult for tissues to actually come through it, which I haven't even experienced at the time of the last video. So definitely I've not had that experience all through, even up till now. And because of that, because of even the fact that they could barely get a sense of the hernia anymore, and my symptom-free lifestyle now, there's actually no need for surgery at all. Like, there's no need for me to even be on the waiting list or any of that. So I'm completely off the waiting list. It's almost as if I don't have a hernia, but that's at the back of the like at the back of everyone's mind, if there's going to be a subsequent pregnancy and how to manage that when it comes to that, and if there's like any significant symptoms that come up with the pregnancy. Yeah, but that's in the future, so let's leave it there. Yeah, then apart from that, another thing that I felt was going to get worse or was going to impact on how the hernia was improving was being able to carry my baby. So like, obviously as the baby grows, the baby gets bigger and much heavier in weight, and also tends to do a lot more activity when you're carrying them. So I was quite worried about that. Not the little 5 minutes, 10 minutes of carrying your baby, but you know, like when you have your baby in the carrier or when you have your baby on your back, those were things I was really concerned about. Like, I remember I didn't back carry my baby for like the first 4 or 5 months because I was just really worried about the strain on my abdominal muscles. And even when I did front carry my baby, when my baby was a lot smaller, I always wore the abdominal band. But now I no longer wear the abdominal band, and I can actually both front carry and back carry my baby without feeling as if there's pressure on the hernia, or without even feeling any discomfort of any kind. It's crazy because like, if you had told me a couple of months ago, even when I filmed the last video, that the biggest thing about the cesarean section hernia, or the biggest thing about the cesarean section itself that I would notice would just be the scar, or maybe like the cesarean section shelf, that fatty shelf that doesn't seem to want to shift. Yeah, if you had told me that those would be the most prominent things, I probably wouldn't have believed you. But now, honestly, like, if anyone's going through that similar type of experience like that I described in my previous video, then please just know that it takes time, but it does get better. Like, when your abdominal muscles contract, when the inflammation, that's the swelling, when it goes down, it does get better. So now about the weight loss and the intermittent fasting, because that's one of the measures that I really leaned into to see the significant improvement in the cesarean section hernia symptoms. Because if I actually didn't lose the weight, then if I put on more weight, I'm pretty sure like the abdominal muscles would have been more lax, and that would have prevented the level of recovery in terms of like my abdominal muscle strength and the hernia symptoms that I have seen so far. Sorry, I have a bit of a cold, so I may sound a bit congested, but yes, I don't think I would have seen that improvement if I didn't go on that intermittent fasting journey, on that weight loss journey. And if you want to find out more about that journey itself, I'll link up the video so you can check it out, okay? But more on that, I think I noticed that my weight plateaued at about 67 kg and then started to rise up a bit, particularly when I completely weaned off my baby. I think I noticed that that negative calorie balance that you can get with breastfeeding and everything and intermittent fasting, I didn't see it as much as I previously would have, and because of that I think my weight just plateaued at 67. At the moment I weigh about 68 plus. I'll check it at the time of this video, but yeah, and I think I'm actually very happy with that weight, not necessarily because of the numbers itself, but because of the effect it has on the hernia and the symptoms. But more than that, I think I actually decided to stop being religious with the intermittent fasting because I noticed a significant amount of muscle loss, and I don't necessarily have the time to actually head to the gym and be consistent at exercise even at home. So because of that, I just felt like it was necessary that rather than go heavy on the intermittent fasting, I try to bulk up a bit more with my proteins and also tilt into doing more of exercises to kind of compensate for that little weight gain that seems to be creeping up a bit. So yeah, I think I've shifted my focus now from intermittent fasting to bulking up with exercise, which I'm hoping to do more of when my baby goes to nursery. But yeah, that's what my mind is on now. And the reason why is because I feel like apart from the loss of muscle mass, which is significantly impactful on your abdominal muscle, because you're trying to build up muscle, you're trying to regain that strength, and if you're losing the muscle and the fat is what's left, then that strength, that anchor, that core system that's usually helping to keep everything together and ensure that you are toned up there, it's no longer going to be there, and you lose that impact. And once you've lost that impact, obviously the hernia is also going to respond by protruding more, by you finding out that you have more symptoms and things like that. So that's one. Another thing is that loss of muscle mass actually impacts on your posture. It impacts on your glucose control, your hormonal balance, your metabolism. There's so much more that the loss of muscle mass actually does that I feel it could be negative. So intermittent fasting on its own can be so beneficial because it actually helped to curb my cravings, help to really increase my energy actually. So but I think that once you've maximized that, you need to then look for something to maintain it, and I think the maintenance would then need to be more holistic, not just geared towards weight loss. So that's what I'm trying to say. So yeah, that's that's it about the weight loss journey. Lastly, mentally I actually feel I feel really strong. I feel a lot has changed because I remember why I actually made the first video I made was because of how low I felt when I realized that I was developing a cesarean section hernia, and when it fully established itself and I got the diagnosis and everything, I remember feeling super low. I just felt I shouldn't have even had a CS. Why did I have a CS? And why is it only me I've heard of that has a cesarean section hernia? Because honestly, in all my time with patients, because I've actually worked on a lot of obstetrics and gynae posting, not just in the UK but in my home country, and I haven't really seen people with cesarean section hernia. So it really, I've seen people with incisional hernias for example, but it just wasn't common because a lot of precautions actually taken to make sure that you don't develop a cesarean section hernia. So I was why just me? I honestly was just full of regret, full of resentment at that time. And thankfully, my husband was able to call me to order and just remind me that this was actually what gave us our miracle, which is our baby. So you need to look at it from those lenses. And I had someone recently comment that she's actually going through something similar at the moment. And I just hope that even if she's the only one that's encouraged by this video, just know that it's going to get better. It's not going to be the same. It's really going to improve, particularly when you're taking steps to seeing it improve. So I would say in the meantime, if you're just fresh off of delivering your baby within those first 6 weeks, just take the time to enjoy this period. glean on all the support, like take all the support that you can get from your partner, from your friends, from your family, from your loved ones. Really soak in on the moment, because like it is going to get better, and when you look back you want to see that you really enjoyed that time, rather than feeling that regret or feeling that resentment that prevented you from fully taking it in that you've brought a whole new human into this world. Yeah, so I think that that's something that I would have changed at that time, because honestly at that time I was just thinking, where can I go to have this surgery done immediately so that my recovery can be full, because I felt like it was a stumbling block in my recovery process. I didn't think about it as part of the recovery process. I thought about it as a separate entity, like I was recovering postpartum, but then this was a separate entity. But now thinking about it as a whole, it all was part of the postpartum recovery process. And I think if I conceptualize it that way, I might have been a bit easier on myself. Yeah, so hopefully you watched the previous video, which helps you to know how you can overcome the cesarean section hernia without surgery, and I hope it works out for you. But if you're on that journey of like the cesarean section hernia recovery, I wish you all the very best. Yeah, if you want to see more about motherhood, about like how I integrate back into the workforce and things like that, then definitely stick around, subscribe and turn on the notification bell so that you can get updates whenever I release a new video. All right then, take care, bye.